Next.
As I mentioned in my last video, I'm going to be doing a series I'm calling Off the Shelf, where basically I try to take things off of my shelf and actually make videos to get my backlog taken care of. The next item on that list is right here in front of me. Now, I might have waited entirely too long to do this because looking around online, there's not a whole lot of places that sell this anymore. They sell sets that are similar to it and newer than it, but this one is only available in a couple of places. However, that's sort of for the good as well, because if you can find it, in a lot of places, it's on sale. Today, we're going to take a look at the TP-Link Deco M9 Plus AC2200 Smart Home Mesh Wi-Fi System. I'm not going to go too deeply into this one because I looked at the TP-Link Deco M5. It's actually been my primary home router for the last 2 years, and it's been doing an amazing job. The last home that we lived in was about 2,500 square feet, and the 3 mesh wireless system was more than enough to cover that space. For this home, the livable space is actually in the neighborhood of like 5,500 to 6,000 square feet, significantly larger, and as you can probably see from the front of this box, this covers up to 6,500 square feet, ideal for 4 to 6 plus bedrooms. Other cool things, it's also compatible with Amazon ALEXA and IFTTT. It's even got a built-in smart hub. It's supposed to work with things like Zigbee. I don't own any of those smart things yet, but once I switch to this, I should be able to start using them. And as I mentioned, I did do a video about the M5 series, so I'm not going to go too deep into the setup process because you can see the setup process from that. What I'm going to do with this is actually take advantage of a really cool feature where I can take the existing setup, add these new devices to it, and then remove the old ones, and hopefully that'll work. Here on the back of the box, you'll see, again, it works with Zigbee, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi devices, has a Wi-Fi dead zone killer, tri-band speeds, and TP-Link mesh technology. I think they used to call this ART or something, adaptive routing. But basically, you spread these little mesh discs around your house, and it sort of helps figure out exactly how to cover the entire house with Wi-Fi, and I love that. So let's open the box, see what comes inside of it, get it all set up, get my house repainted in Wi-Fi, and possibly even gain the ability to use Zigbee devices. And long-time apologies to TP-Link for not doing this video sooner. I've had these sitting on the shelf for over a year now, so that is entirely my bad. But here we go. It says, "Hi there, welcome to the world of Deco. Get the app." I do have the TP-Link Deco app. Use it absolutely all the time. In the last video I made about it, the M5 series, it was very lacking at the time, but I've still been using it. I've been watching it, and it has gotten so much better in the 2 years I've been using it. It's gotten better parental controls, quality of service management, NAT routing, the ability to set up your home servers and everything, more advanced features that it was really lacking when I used it before. It's been great. So here at the top of the box, we have 2 discs here, and I think there should be a third one somewhere. There we go. So the second level, there's the third one. And just like the previous one, well, actually it's not just like the previous one. So this one does have a barrel connector, whereas the previous was a USB-C connector. There is a USB plug and then 2 Ethernet ports. It does say here on the bottom, 12 volts at 2 amps power. So presumably because it's a newer model, it does have to have more power. These look to be 3 power bricks. And boy, you ain't kidding. That is quite the little power brick with a barrel connector on the other end and of course 12 volts at 2 amp power supply. So I'll admit, a little bit disappointed that they moved away from the USB-C, but it is what it is. So we do have the 3 power connectors. We have an Ethernet cable, a flat Ethernet cable, presumably for plugging into the outside world. Then a little instruction booklet here. Quick installation guide for Deco. Not gonna need that. Peel all the plastic off the outside of these. There we go. And other than all this on the back side, the only other real feature about it is this light on the top. It has a few different states. You have the off state like it is right now. You have a red state, which means disconnected. Flashing orange or flashing yellow is coming up, and green is up and online. And I think without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start adding these to my Deco app, which, by the way, one of the most recent updates added in the ability to manage smart lights and smart home devices. There's automation built in now, so you can set things to automatically happen. If I hit plus up here in the corner, before you could just add Deco devices or locations. Now there's a smart devices option, which lets you add TP-Link devices, Nest devices, Philips Hue, lights, switches, thermostats. Like if you have a Nest thermostat, you can control it through this app. If you've got smart switches or plugs or lights or anything like that, you can control all of that through here. And if I click on lights right now, you can see a list of some of my smart lights that I can manage through this app, if that's something you're into. For the moment though, I'm gonna hit plus, I'm gonna hit Decos, and it gives me the option here of all the available products that work with this. M9 Plus is at the very top. So I'm guessing even though they've discontinued this is one of the latest models that they've got. There's also a P7, which I think is slightly newer, and an M1300. After having taken more than a year to make this video, it's not likely that I'll be seeing either one of those, but I still very much appreciate the opportunity to take a look at this and to replace the Wi-Fi setup here in my home with something that's a little bit better. So again, thanks to TP-Link. Just a reminder, this is not a sponsored video, but TP-Link did send these out for free for me to review. It's just taken me over a year to get to it. Sorry. But anyway, for the sake of the setup process, I've gone ahead and plugged in one of the power adapters. I'll plug in this TP-Link M9 Plus disc. You can probably see here it does have a flashing yellow light on it. It's kind of a yellow light. And while we wait for that to come up, let me get back to my app. I'm going to go ahead and pick the M9 Plus. It says find a suitable spot, select the layout that looks most like your home. We'll tell you where to place it. We've actually got 3 floors in this home, the basement, the main floor, and the upstairs. So I'm gonna say 3 floors, and it does show me these 3 discs. So we'll hit next. Power on and wait until the LED pulses blue. Solid yellow means it's starting up. Pulsing blue, like it is right now, means that it's ready for setup. But there we go, it is pulsing blue. Looking for new deco. And if everything works according to plan, this should just come online, join my existing network that's already been set up. We'll keep our fingers crossed, and again, if it works appropriately, I should be able to do the same thing to the other 2, and then just swap out the ones that I've got currently, and hopefully my whole network will get upgraded immediately. There we go, it says found it, where have you placed this? This one I'm going to call living room because it's going to replace the main living room unit in my home, optimizing your network. Then I realized that I'm going to have 2 that are called living room, so I'm going to have to figure out which one's which. Now that I've added it, if I click on internet, you can see living room, main deco. This is the one that's actually plugged into the modem. Basement, Duncan's room. Duncan's my oldest son, and his room made the most sense to have the upstairs unit. And then another living room. And now that that is done, the light on this one has turned green. So I should be able to do the exact same thing to the other 2 units. So I think first I'm going to try to go ahead and switch out this new unit for the one that I have upstairs in the living room. Then if everything works appropriately, I'll add the other 2 units and remove all 3 of the older ones. And a little while later, we are back. There's one very important thing that I forgot before I took everything and went upstairs. Taking a look at the app, you can see now that I have 5. I've gone ahead and removed one of the original ones. What I forgot to do, however, is in the top corner here, if I hit the 3 dots, there's a Set Main Deco button. So if I click on that, it gives me the option to pick any one of these to be the main one. I initially tried to take the new deco and just put it in place of the original main deco, and nothing worked. After making that change, swapping it out, and letting everything restart, all good. The other thing that I kind of forgot to do in moving everything around is actually removing the original units from the app. Just for a point of comparison, just so you know, this is the new M9 Plus, this is the M5, so the new unit is significantly larger, and of course it uses that barrel connector instead of USB-C, but when the time comes to remove the original unit, this one is what was called living room before. I'm gonna click on it, click the 3 dots and hit remove, and it says here, removing it will reset it to the factory default settings and reduce your Wi-Fi range. Hit remove. And you can watch here, the light just started flashing yellow. This is where it's resetting to the factory defaults, and in just a couple of minutes it should be done and ready to move on. Now looking through the app, now that I've added the M9 Plus devices, I've noticed that if I go into add device, add smart device, when I click things like thermostats, I can see the Nest thermostat that was there before, but now I also see other thermostats. So if I click on that, it says, note, only Zigbee and BLE mesh devices can be searched for here. And I'm curious, because we do have Ecobee thermostats here in the house, I'm curious if they'll show up in here. I doubt it, because I don't think that there's Zigbee or BLE mesh or anything like that. They just have the Ecobee app that works with them. That's another video I've been meaning to finish up. I did the entire house with Ecobee 4 thermostats, and they're the smart ones that have the Amazon Assistant built into them, which means that I can go anywhere in the house and say ALEXA, and it will respond to me, which is really cool. Anyway, I don't have long-term opinions about this because I literally just set them all up, but initial thoughts and impressions about the M9 Plus after not using them and letting them sit in a box for a year. I've said it over and over again, I'm a little bit disappointed that it has a barrel connector instead of a USB-C connector. Only minorly disappointed. It's not that big of a deal. Just feels kind of like a step backwards, although I realize that it's a larger unit, it's presumably higher powered unit, it's gonna need more power. So this is 24 watts versus, well, looking at the old one, it's 12 volts at 1.2 amps. So some reason I was thinking that it was 5 volts on the old ones, but it's not. So it seems like they could have done the newer ones USB-C, but that's really the biggest disappointment that I have with it. It's not that big of a deal. The larger size doesn't really make that big a difference to to me. I mean, it's the size of my hand versus this one, which is about the size of the palm of my hand, or a little bit larger. Has the same kind of ports on it. It has the smart Zigbee compatibility built in, so I can expand my smart home capabilities there, which is awesome. So I guess let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below. Have you tried out any sort of mesh networks for your home? If you're in the market for it, if you're interested in something like this, I think the M5 setup is still available, and this has worked really well for me over the last couple of years. The M9 Plus is definitely a step up from that, and I know they've got even more new ones on the way, so I'll put a link to where you can find some of these options at Best Buy and Amazon and B&H and wherever else they are available. Thanks so much to TP-Link for sending this out for me to take a look at. So sorry that it took this long to get to. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, the second video in the off-the-shelf series, working to clear my shelves of items so that new things can continue to come in and we can continue making fun, interesting content. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up down below, subscribe to the channel so you get notified when new videos do become available, and ring that notification bell if you want to actually get notifications, and I will see you again in the very near future. Bye guys.